There is a small town in northern Ontario called Atikokan. I went to this place with my wife. We had been trying to get pregnant for some time, but we were not yet successful, so my wife suggested we go camping. We had an 8-day trip planned, and so for one night we decided to stay at a motel called the White Otter Inn. So we were getting something to eat at the restaurant adjoined to the motel, and it was my wife and me at one table and the young lady with a scumbag looking guy sitting with her. And I'm pretty sure that I hear her trying to talk him into killing a guy. I lean over to my wife and says, "Did you hear this? They're talking about murder." She says to me she did not hear this and that I shouldn't be eavesdropping. I says to her, I am very glad that I bloody well was eavesdropping because there's a murder afoot. She says to me, get this, why don't you not go wandering off on one of your tangents right now, because we are on this trip to relax. I tell her this is not a tangent, this is murder, and here's what I am going to do. I am going to stop at the police department to tell them what I just heard. She says I will be doing nothing of the such. She says I misheard. She had this capacity to get inside my head and make me doubt myself. I always suspected her belittlement of me was one of the reasons we could not conceive a beautiful child. So, like a giant asshole, I just keep my mouth shut, but I had a particularly hard time putting the topic out of my mind. So as luck would have it, we run into this other couple who's having their own canoeing adventure trip, and the lady of the pair mentions that there was a murder in Atikokan just a few days ago. She says this and my guts just drop. So the time comes and it's just my wife and me, and I tell her that we are going back and we are going to tell the police exactly what I heard. But she says no, we will finish our canoeing adventure as we have planned. And she certainly is not cutting her canoeing adventure trip short so I can go off and be Nancy Drew. And she knew full well what she was doing there with the demasculating Nancy Drew reference too. She could have just as easily said a male detective. So cut to 2 months later and I am home, and I am reading the news and I see that police have arrested someone for the murder in Atikokan. And there's a photo, and guess what? Yes, it is exactly the young girl and the scumbag looking prick from the White Otter Inn. Then I walk out into the garden where my wife is and I say, we are done, finished. And she says, oh yeah, and why is that? And I says, because I don't want to live in a relationship that don't take into account the things I hear and the things I know. And you made me doubt my own goddamn ears, and that is why I am leaving you. We are done. And do you want to know what she says to me in response? She says, yes, I heard them speak of murder, but how the fuck was either of us supposed to know that they were not just two kids flapping their lips? She says, I thought maybe if we could just be in the fucking forest, without all the distractions, in nature, it might just happen this time. We might actually get pregnant. And maybe then we could start a family of our very own. And then she starts to cry. She says, I can see it as clear as day now that you want to be distracted. You don't want to have a family and a beautiful baby. And then I start to cry too, because I think maybe she is right. Then she says, do you even want to have a baby with me? And then she says, do you even love me? And then I says, yes I do, and neither of us can stop crying. And then, you guess what? 9 months after our discussion in the home garden, we have a beautiful baby boy. And this is the way that I started my beautiful family.